Welcome to Actual English. I am Jennifer Clyde. Thanks for tuning in. Now, it's time for lesson 270, and today's topic is bucket list. For those of you that did tune in during our previous lessons, we did go over this topic. So previously, in one of our lessons, that was with Alan and Mary, I believe, we talked about their bucket list. Today, we'll talk about the same topic, but we'll have Gareth and Kelly telling us about their bucket list. So just to help you refresh your memory, what is a bucket list? A bucket list is a list of things that people desire to do before they die. It can be traveling, it can be doing simple things. Anything you want to do before you die would be added to your bucket list. So let's talk about that today. Are you ready? Let's begin with Actual Talk.
Kelly, have you seen the movie The Bucket List?
No, actually I haven't.
No. Oh, it's a great movie. It's all about the things you want to do before you die. Any sort of dreams you have or whatever. How about you? What's your bucket list? Do you have one?
Oh, gee, I guess everybody has one. That's an awfully big question.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of things. I don't like to think that I'm going to die. Is that wrong?
Nothing wrong with that. Don't think about it.
You just think, well,
Think about
I'm the
good
exception.
things.
I'm not going to die. But
Yeah.
okay, on the assumption that it's possible that might happen,
Sure.
although I'd like it not to.
Sure.
I guess I would love to go to Paris
Oh,
and to
beautiful.
Italy.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to have a baby someday.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be wonderful.
Oh, life-changing, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but I think so.
Sure, yeah.
Do you have kids?
We don't. No, we're trying now. Yeah, so we don't.
Okay.
But I really want kids.
So
How
I
about
guess it's
son or
on your
daughter?
list. I don't, as long as it's healthy.
Sure,
I
sure.
don't care.
Yeah.
I would like to be successful in
course.
something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about creating things, so
Sure.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to go to New York City.
Oh, yeah. Haven't you been?
No.
Really? Oh, you gotta experience the Big
Okay,
Apple.
I guess I'm boring compared to you.
Not at all. No, I've been lucky to travel a little bit, but that's a great city. Yeah.
I would really, I wrote a book, actually, a novel for a friend who is
Wow.
actually deceased and a real hero. I would
Sure.
love to see that published someday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
And
Yeah.
I actually could go on, but I think for now, that's enough.
Very creative,
pretty
Kelly.
big.
Yeah, dream big, eh?
I think so. I
Yeah.
guess ultimately, I'd like to be happy.
That's the most important thing, isn't it?
It is.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you enjoy the conversation between Gareth and Kelly? I think Kelly told us more about things that are on her bucket list. But first of all, she hadn't really thought about this. She said that she would hate to think about having to die one day, but we all die someday, one day in the future, right? So if someone were to ask Kelly, so what is your bucket list or what's on your bucket list, she would have mentioned exactly the same thing. A few of the things that she mentioned today was what? Traveling to Paris and Italy. Another one was to have a baby. What else? She did mention that she has written a novel and she would love to see that novel being published in the future. Okay, here we go. Let's check out the conversation. Gareth says, Kelly, have you seen the movie The Bucket List? Have you watched the movie The Bucket List? Okay, which was a great movie. If you have not watched it, do check it out for sure. Kelly says, no, actually, I haven't. So she hasn't seen The Bucket List. He says, it's a great movie. It's all about the things you want to do before you die. That's right. That is exactly what a bucket list is. All the things you want to do. The things you want to do before you die. Any sort of dreams you have, or whatever, he says. Whatever basically is just an informal way of saying the unknown. You're not sure, you're not certain. You can't say A, B, C because it's uncertain, it's unknown. So he says it can be things you want to do before you die. It can be a dream. It can be anything else. It can be whatever. And he says, how about you? What's your bucket list? Do you have one? So the question is, what is your bucket list? Okay, let's see what Kelly says. She says, oh, gee, I guess everyone has one. That's an awfully big question. Now, here we go. Awfully is just another way of saying extremely, intensely, extremely, very, in other words. So she says, that's an awfully big question. What does big mean here? Extremely big question means what? A difficult question, a serious question, a question that is not easy to answer, okay? Usually, if somebody asks you a question and you need some time to think about it, you can say that it is a big question, okay? So she says, oh, that's an awfully big question. I don't like to think that I am going to die. Is that wrong? Not at all. Who wants to think that they will die? We all know that we all will die someday, but we don't want to think about it, right? So she's saying, oh, you know, I don't like to think that I'm going to die. I don't like to think about death. Is that wrong? And he says, there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. Don't think about it. Think about the good things. Okay, he's saying think about the good things, not dying and death, not the negative things, not the bad things, but think about the good things. Okay, and then she says, okay, on the assumption that it's possible that it might happen, although I'd like it not to, she says, I guess I would love to go to Paris and Italy. Okay, this is a long sentence, so let's break it up. An assumption is basically an act of taking to or upon oneself. It's like a belief that a person has. So simply put, it's belief, your thought, your concept of something. She says, on the assumption, on the belief that it's possible that it might happen, that I will die someday, although I'd like it not to. Although I would not like to die, she says, I would love to go to Paris and Italy. If you really strongly desire to do something, you can say, I would love to do something. I would love to go to Italy. I would love to go surfing. I would love to travel around the world. Okay, I would love to do something. But she says she would love to go to Paris or Italy. I would absolutely love to have a baby. Someday. I think that would be wonderful. So she's mentioned two of her dreams, two of her hopes. One was to travel to Paris, even Italy, and the other was to have a baby. Now, if you're wondering why is it have a baby? Okay, to have a baby can actually mean that you have children, okay? It can also mean to deliver a child, okay? Childbirth, to give birth to a baby. So have has several meanings, but here she just wants children, okay? Or a baby, and she wants to travel to places such as Paris and Italy. Now, he says life-changing, right? This is pretty simple, life-changing. If you say that a situation or an experience is life-changing, you are saying that that situation or that experience has some power or is very powerful enough. It's powerful enough to change your life, bring upon changes to life, okay? It's life-changing. Yeah, well, I wouldn't know, but I think so. She says, I wouldn't know. Why? Because she has not had a baby yet. So she's saying, yeah, I would imagine. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure. I could imagine though. I wouldn't know, but I think so. I think it would be life-changing. She asks, do you have kids? Well, he says, we don't. You might have noticed, every time Gareth answers a question about his family, his house, things about him, he answers with we, not I. Have you noticed? Now that is because he is including his wife as his family. So him and his wife he considers as one. So we here means him and his wife. We don't. My wife and I don't have kids. We're trying now. We are trying to have a baby, so we don't. but I really want kids. We don't, meaning we don't have children yet, but I really want kids. A son or daughter. Now, Kelly says, well, I don't care. As long as it's healthy, I don't care. Okay, so she's asked Gareth whether he has children. He said no, not yet, but him and his wife are planning on having kids. They're trying to have kids. And then he asks back. He asks Kelly, son or daughter? Do you want a boy or do you want a girl? And she says, I don't care, right? Doesn't matter. As long as it's healthy. Why is it it? You may wonder, why is it it? We can call pets, cats and dogs, it, right? Especially if you don't know if it's a female or male. But here, we're talking about a person, a human being, a baby. But she's saying that as long as it's healthy because the baby is not born yet. Okay, she can't say he or she, so she's naturally saying, as long as the baby is healthy, as long as it's healthy, I don't care. Moving on, she says, I would like to be successful in something that I'm passionate about. Okay, desirous is a synonym. If you're passionate about something, you have strong desires for something, okay? I'm passionate about creating things, making things, creating things. So I want to do that. And she says, I want to go to New York City. So she wants to go to Paris, Italy, and New York City. He says, oh yeah, haven't you been? Meaning, haven't you been to New York City? No, she answers. Now Gareth says, really, you've got to experience the Big Apple. Have you seen this anywhere? Big Apple? Have you heard of the Big Apple ever before? The Big Apple, we're talking about New York City. That's what they call New York City, okay? So he's basically saying you've got to experience the Big Apple, meaning you've got to experience New York City. You've got to go there. I guess I'm boring compared to you. This is just a comment she's added, meaning that she really hasn't had much traveling experience. So she's saying, my life is boring compared to your life. Now Gareth says, not at all. Hey, what are you saying? I've been lucky to travel a little bit, but that's a great city. He's talking about New York City. Now, Kelly says, I wrote a book. Actually a novel for a friend who is actually deceased and a real hero. Here's a word. She has written a book. She's written a novel based on someone's life. The novel is about somebody, a friend of hers who is deceased. Deceased, okay, we'll go over the pronunciation later on, but deceased is another word for dead, right? Dead is so strong and it sounds so, I don't know, negative. It's too strong. So even in Korean, there are these expressions. There is 죽었다, 죽다, and there's 돌아가셨다, right? So there are softer ways of expressing situations, expressing things. So deceased is a softer way of saying dead. Especially if somebody died recently, you would say deceased. Anyhow, she says, I would love to see that published someday. She's talking about her novel being published, meaning printed. She would love to see the book printed or distributed to the public. And he says, oh wow, that's a great thing. Moving on. She says, you know, I actually could go on and on, but for now, that's enough. That's pretty big. So what does she mean by go on and on? Go on and on and on and on. Okay, you can repeat it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times even, but usually you will hear go on and on. It means to continue without pause or stop, constantly. So she's saying, I could go on and on, meaning I could keep talking about the things I would love to do. I could continue to talk about many more things, but for now, that's enough. I've mentioned enough. And she says, that's pretty big. Very creative, Kelly, he says. Dream big, eh? Dream big. We often say that dreams are meant to be dreamt. It's important that children have dreams, that people have dreams, right? And we also say dream big, meaning Dream of the impossibility. I mean, the impossible. Because a dream is a dream. Dream big means dream about big things, okay? Things that are hard to accomplish. Dream big. And she says, I guess ultimately, in the end, I'd like to be happy. That's my dream too, to be happy, which is very difficult. And he says, that's the most important thing, isn't it? And he brings the conversation to an end. Perhaps being happy is the most important thing in our lives, right? But to be happy means that, I don't know, we're happy about many things. Being happy sounds simple, but in reality, it's not as simple. Okay, anyhow, let's take a listen to the conversation one more time.
Kelly, have you seen the movie The Bucket List?
No, actually, I haven't.
No. Oh, it's a great movie. It's all about the things you want to do before you die. Any sort of dreams you have or whatever. How about you? What's your bucket list? Do you have one?
Oh, gee, I guess everybody has one. That's an awfully big question.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of things. I don't like to think that I'm going to die. Is that wrong?
Nothing wrong with that. Don't think about it.
You just think, well,
Think about the
I'm the
good
exception.
things.
I'm not going to die. But
Yeah.
okay, on the assumption that it's possible that might happen,
Sure.
although I'd like it not to.
Sure.
I guess I would love to go to Paris
Oh,
and to
beautiful.
Italy.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to have a baby someday.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be wonderful.
Oh, life-changing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but I think so.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have kids?
We don't. No, we're trying now. Yeah, so we don't.
Okay.
But I really want kids.
So
How about
this is
son or
on your
daughter?
list. I don't, as long as it's healthy.
Sure,
I
sure.
don't care.
Yeah.
I would like to be successful in
course.
something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about creating things. So
Sure.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to go to New York City.
Oh, yeah. Haven't you been?
No.
Really? Oh, you gotta experience the Big
Okay,
Apple.
I guess I'm boring compared to you.
Not at all. No, I've been lucky to travel a little bit, but that's a great city. Yeah.
I would really. I wrote a book, actually, a novel for a friend who is
Wow.
actually deceased and a real hero. I would
Sure.
love to see that published someday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
And you
Yeah.
know, I actually could go on and on, but I think for now that's enough.
Very creative,
pretty
Kelly.
big.
Yeah, dream big, eh?
I think so. I
Yeah.
guess ultimately I'd like to be happy.
That's the most important thing, isn't it?
It is.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for actual expressions. If you're ready, let's get started. Okay, here we have awfully, awful. When you want to say that something is really bad, we say, oh, that's terrible. That's awful. But when you say awfully, awfully as an adverb, it means hugely, truly, immensely, extremely, intensely. Okay, you got the idea? Moving on to assumption. Assumption. You can slightly hear the P sound. It's not assumption, it's assumption. Assumption. So stop after assumption. Got it? Okay. Synonyms are acceptance and, as I said, belief would be a synonym for assumption. Passionate. You can be very passionate about something, which means eager. Desirous, sorry, meant to put desirous. So desirous would be a synonym for passionate, okay? Desirous, okay? To have strong desires for something. Deceased is a softer way of saying dead, no longer living. So that is a synonym, an easy one. Departed is another good one that you might want to use in place of dead. Published means what? Broadcast. Broadcast is often used in this form, also with an ed, broadcasted, but they say that correctly, grammatically, it's correct to say broadcast. People prefer to say broadcast than broadcasted. So printed or issued for distribution to the public, okay? Books can be published. Let's move on to our first pattern. Whatever means what? Anything that is unknown. We're talking about the possibilities of things, right? If you're going to remodel the house, you can use a hammer or whatever to break the walls down. Remodel, redesign, okay? So if you're going to remodel the house, you can use a hammer or whatever. A hammer or anything else. A hammer or whatever, anything else to break the walls down. Okay? Moving on to life-changing. A situation can be life-changing. An experience can be life-changing. Something that is so powerful and strong that it can change your life. Okay? So, you should really take yoga classes. It's really life-changing, especially for your health and posture. So we're saying if you have any health problems, any problems with your posture, taking yoga classes can be life-changing. Basically, we're saying that it can alter your life. It can change your life. Moving on, go on and on and on and on. It means to continue, okay, without stopping. We have to leave now, or Sarah will go on and on about her trip to Cebu, okay? Usually, when you say she will go on and on, he will go on and on, it means that he or she will keep on talking, okay, without stopping. Usually we say go on and on about something, okay? People talk about something. So in other words, when you say go on and on about something, it means to keep talking about something. Okay, I hope you have the idea. Please do go over these patterns and the vocab words more on your own.
Every now and then, my boyfriend and I like to talk about our bucket list because many of the things on our list include things that we want to do or experience together. Most of the things on our list involve traveling because we want to see as many places as we possibly can before we die. Other things include experiences that we want, like swimming with the dolphins or riding an elephant or petting a lion in the wild, really exotic things that we may or may not be able to do. For me personally, there are smaller goals like becoming fluent in Korean or learning how to tango. Those are things that I personally want to accomplish for myself. But somehow it seems no matter how many things I check off of my bucket list, there are always more things that I want to do. So it seems like I'm never able to really finish everything on the list.
I have to say what Alexis has mentioned is completely true. I would have to agree with her 100% because we as human beings, as people, our hopes change, our dreams change all the time. It's constantly changing. So even if we were to write a bucket list right now, today, maybe 3 months later, 6 months later, maybe 3-4 years later, we might want to take away a few things and add a few things to our bucket list because we continue to want different things. Our desires for things change as time passes, right? So she's mentioned several things, a lot of things that I would also like to do, that she says, well, you seem to want more and more, and that list is going to change. It's going to be ever-changing. Okay, let's take a look at what Alexis has mentioned. Every now and then, my boyfriend and I like to talk about our bucket lists. So every now and then means what? Every now and then can mean sometimes, but quite frequently can be another way of putting it. Every now and then. You're not doing it on a regular basis, but, randomly, she's saying, my boyfriend and I talk about our bucket lists. An S is added there because she's talking about her bucket list and her boyfriend's bucket list. We've got 2 bucket lists, right? Okay. We want to see as many places as we possibly can before we die. We want to see as many places as possible as we possibly can before we die. Okay, so this could mean traveling to all different countries. Basically means they're going to try everything to. They're going to put in a lot of effort to visit many places. Those are things that I personally want to accomplish for myself, achieve for myself, okay? She's mentioned things such as swimming with the dolphins, or even going to, pet lions, or even tigers in the wild, just doing really exotic things, traveling to exotic locations. So she says, personally, there are things that I want to do, things I want to accomplish for myself. And then she says, somehow it seems no matter how many things I check off. I think we went over mark off before. Mark off means to what? Remove from a list. Take away from a list. Remove, mark off, also check off. If we have a list of things to do, let's think about a grocery list, shopping list. You have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 things to do or buy. Then once you grab something, you check each one off. So check off means to remove from the list. Somehow it seems no matter how many things I check off, remove from my bucket list, there are always more things that I want to do. Okay, so no matter how many things you get done, well, you still constantly seem to want to do more. We all are greedy. We want more and more and more, right? Okay, so that was Alexis's point. I think that was a great response. So let's take a moment to listen to it one more time.
Every now and then, my boyfriend and I like to talk about our bucket list because many of the things on our list include things that we want to do or experience together. Most of the things on our list involve traveling because we want to see as many places as we possibly can before we die. Other things include experiences that we want, like swimming with the dolphins or riding an elephant or petting a lion in the wild, really exotic things that we may or may not be able to do. For me personally, there are smaller goals like becoming fluent in Korean or learning how to tango. Those are things that I personally want to accomplish for myself. But somehow it seems no matter how many things I check off of my bucket list, there are always more things that I want to do. So it seems like I'm never able to really finish everything on the list.
Learning how to tango was one of the things that I wanted to do before I died, but my husband is against it, so maybe I'll never get a chance to do that unless I do it secretly. You may even think about the things you might have to do secretly because your family, they say no, your husband or wife says absolutely not, you cannot do that. But what if there's something you really want to do before you die? I would say go ahead and do it. Okay, so today's topic was once again part 2 of Bucket List. I hope that you had a lot of fun and learned a lot. Now, here is a reminder of our next topic. Next time we'll be talking about Chuseok. We're going to divide that up as well. And Chuseok will focus on contrasting fall holidays, how different fall holidays are. All right, so please do join me for that as well. In the meantime, come to our homepage. Come on over to www.ebse.co.kr. Look for Actual English with Jennifer. And as always, you are more than free to leave messages on our message board. Okay, that is all for today. I'll catch you again next time. Until then, take care and bye for now.